What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today, somebody put in a request in the last video for me to do the 00 Quanta. So that's what we're going to do today. This was one of the first metal builds that I bought when I first started collecting metal builds. I would say this was probably like 3 or 4. And this was the first one that I know for a fact I spent full price for. And there actually is a story about that, but we'll talk about that later. So this is my favorite suit in Gundam 00, whether it's the Awakening of the Trailblazer or the series. I love this suit the best. So we're gonna be taking a look at that today. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go. So let's take a look and see what we've got inside. Now, I have not pulled this guy out for almost 6 years. So I'm surprised I got everything where it's supposed to be. But it looks like you've got a shield here. It looks like you've got the GN sword. I want to say this is GN sword 5, I think, all right? But you've got that. You've got the parts for when the armor comes off and stuff. So you have that stuff here. You've got the hands here, so we got that. You've got the stand for the 00 Quanta. I'm not really sure how the pronunciation is. I've seen it pronounced Quanta or Quant, so I don't, I usually just say Quanta, so that's what we're gonna call it for the review, okay? So that's what we've got there, okay? And then it looks like we've got some parts here. This is usually for the GN bits, okay? So you've got some of this stuff here, removal tools and such. All right, and I think I did break one of these, so I think I may be missing one of those. So we got those. Let's see what else. We've got the manual here, so we'll be taking a look at that shortly. And then let's take a look at what we've got in here. I have not opened this in so long. So there we go, the 00 Quanta. We've got that there. Looks like you've got pieces for the stand there. Another part for the stand, and you got some extra pieces there. Now on the back of this, we have, looks like we've got the GN effect when he was going through that thing at the end of Awakening from the Trailblazer. So you have that, and then you have the little ring as well that I was talking about in the 00 Quanta full saber review. So, but this looks a lot bigger than that one did. So you've got that there. So it's a pretty basic release, nothing super fancy. So we'll be taking a look at the manual next. So let's take a look at this thing. Now, of course, like I said in the full saber announcement video, this is your parts count here. All right, so we got all of this stuff here. I don't expect to see anything super crazy in here, but this is going to be my story time. So I said that there was a story behind the 00 Quanta. So what it was way back in 2016, there was a company called Mosho, and as far as I know, they are still around. I don't think they do Gundams anymore, but anyway, so they had a prototype in 2016 for a metal build style 00 Quanta, and it looks spectacular. And at that point, Bandai had not released a 00 Quanta, and so I didn't think that we were ever gonna get one, so I was going to pre-order it, right? But then, right around, I think it was, I wanna say like October, it was like September, October, or somewhere around there in 2016. I'm going off of memory here, so, but anyway, so around that time, Bandai was starting to crack down on third-party stuff because there was a lot of different manufacturers at that time. Now, of course, and most people know of Daban in China, but we had Dragon Momoko, who was doing really, really well. You've had a couple of different third-party Gundam manufacturers over the time. You still have a couple, but not a lot anymore. And the reason why is because Bandai started cracking down on that stuff. And so what happened was they gave Mosho a cease and desist letter. And so I was like, well, I don't know, because because at that point we weren't even sure if it was even going to come out, because we thought that Bandai put a stop to it. Now, of course, they found a workaround. I'm not going to get into how or why they did that, but they found a workaround. And then once that cease and desist letter went out, they announced a metalbuild 00 Quanta. So I was like, oh, okay, great. Of course, I want the original, or the official product. Now here, it looks like you got some questionnaire stuff. So actually, I forgot I had these in here. But anyway, so they announced the 00 Quanta. So I said, all right, great. So I'll get my full saber. So canceled the pre-order for the Mosho's version, even though that one does look really, really nice. I'll put a picture up if I haven't done that already in the video, so you can see what I'm talking about. And as far as I know, it is still available. But I always say if I can opt to get the official product, I'm normally going to do that. And so I canceled the pre-order for the Mosho, even though that was a full saber and all of that. It came with all of its accessories and everything. And so I said, okay, well, and I will do one for the 00 Quanta and we'll get a full saber there. And nothing. Nothing for years and years and years and years. We got nothing. Of course, they went on to the strike and alternative strike line and all that kind of stuff, but we never got a 00 Quanta. And so for me, the reason why I don't ever have this on display is because I originally wanted the full saber. And to me, it felt as though it was incomplete. Now, you could say, well, why didn't you just buy the Mosho one as well? I guess I could have done that, but I didn't really think that that was, necessary. I don't really buy a lot of third-party stuff anymore, so I kind of left it alone with that. But anyway, so that's my kind of story with the 00 Quanta. So that's the reason why I don't have it on display. It stayed in its box pretty much ever since I bought it. So, but that's what we've got for the manual. So now let's see what's next. So let's take a look at the 00 Quanta's accessories real quick. So first up, we have the GN Sword 5. Now with this sword, it has two modes. So it has the sword mode and then it has the gun mode. So in order to do the gun mode, what you're gonna do is, it's pretty easy to turn this into the gun mode. So what we're gonna do is flip this up here. You're gonna turn this to the side there. You're gonna open this part up here, open that part down there, and then have the handle down there. And that is the gun mode. So you've got that, and then the original mode that it was in the sword mode. So you've got that as well. So that's what you have for the GN Sword 5. Now, including the two modes that you have, which is the Buster and the sword mode, you can combine this also with the GN bits to become the GN Buster Rifle and Buster Sword. So let's do that real quick. So first, in order to add the bits on here, there's these small little grooves in here and here. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these pieces from the shield and you're gonna put those in here. Let's see if I can do this on camera here. So you just kind of put it in there and it snaps in there. And then we'll do that with the other side as well. Hopefully I can get that in there right. All right, there we go. So that's the first part there. So it becomes a lot longer, okay? So you've got that, and then you take the other bits and you put these on the sides as well. So you take these. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this little bit here. There's a little slide mechanism here. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that and you're gonna slide that in there. It does have to go in at an angle, but if you take that and it kind of slides in there just like that. And so now that is the GN Buster Sword. So as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger than that. And then for the Buster Rifle mode, we're gonna open this up here, kind of like that. So you'll open those parts out. They actually go out like that. So you'll flare these out, then you're gonna spin this around, and then you're gonna open this back up just like in the normal gun mode. So take that, push this down, and actually go down that way. So we'll flip that around, and then what you'll do is you'll take this part up here and you're gonna split this. So what we're gonna do is you take that and open that just like that. And then, so that is your rifle mode. So pretty long. So it does look pretty cool, I must admit. So that's the two modes that you have for that. Then you have the GN shield. So this goes on his left arm. Now he does have all of these sword bits here, and these can come off, but we'll actually, we'll do that later. But these can pull out. So you do have this, and then you can pull this up as well. That's for a semi-quantum burst mode. So you do have this, all of these come out and become different swords, so you can use them as swords as well. And then if you look closely, I'm not sure if that'll pick that up on the camera. Let's see. But there is like sparkles all through this translucent plastic there. So it does look really, really good, I think. So that's what you have there. You also have the part for the shield. Now, this entire shield part is plastic. There's not any metal here. The only metal is for the joint that connects to the backpack here. So this is the joint that will go on the shoulder, and then this is the connection to the backpack there. So that's what you have for the GN shield. Then you have these little GN condensers. This is for the quantum burst mode. So you get quite a bit of these. I only pulled 5 of them out, but they pretty much go on all of the joints of the 00 Quanta. So you get quite a bit. So you got 2 of these. This is actually the one for the center there. So you got that, and then you got the 2 here. This is probably for the elbows there. And then you have these 2, which are for the knees. So you do get quite a few of those, and we'll go through the quantum burst here in a little bit. And then you get 5 sets of hands in typical metal build fashion. So he's got the 2 closed fist on him, and then, so the first set is the wide open hands, or the semi-wide hands. So you've got a set of those. Then you get 2 trigger finger hands. So none of these are movable. These are all in set poses. So you have that. You have another set here. Some of these are for the sword bits, as you can use those as blades. So some of those will hold on to that, and then some of these are for the gun mode as well. So you got that set there. And then you have the last set here. So that's what you have for his hands. So you've got this little ring thing, and then this is usually used for the GN bits. And this is 2 pieces. So this is the actual ring part here. And then you just slide this in here on these little grooves here. And that's how you put that. So that's what you got for this. It looks also like the little realm part where the 00 Quanta in the Awakening of the Trailblazer movie kind of goes through this thing. And that's how he gets into that other realm. So you can use that for that, and we'll go through that a little bit later. So, but that's what you've got for the ring. So that's what we have for accessories. So now we'll put all of this stuff on him, and we'll take a look at the 00 Quanta itself. So here we have the 00 Quanta all together. He does look really, really good. Now, the first thing I would say is that, of course, he is asymmetrical, meaning that he doesn't have the same, it's not the same on both sides, right? So of course he's got the GN shield here, but also like his shoulder pieces are different on this side. He also has a extra like armor piece here, all right? So it is asymmetrical. So we don't get too many of those kind of asymmetrical suits. So you've got that, and then you've got, this is connected to the backpack, the GN shield here. So you do want to be careful with this, because of course if you break this, this is not going to go, but it is die cast. This is the only part of the shield that is die cast. So you do have that is connected to the backpack here, and the light does turn on as we went over before. So you've got that. Now I would say as far as detail is concerned, he does look really, really good. I would say that this blue is more of a cobalt blue. So it's like a blue with a little bit of like a purplish tint. That's the only way I could really describe it. But it does have that. You can see the 00Q there. It'd be better if I turned on the lights, but you can see it even without the lights turned up there. So he does have a lot of decals on him as well. So he does look really, really good, I must admit. So I do like this. If you like the 00 design, to me, I've never been a big Exia fan, but for me, for whatever reason, even though the Exia and the 00 Quanta do look very, very similar, for whatever reason, I've always liked this one a little bit better. So we just wanted to go over some of the detailing there. So it does look really, really solid. And now we will do the articulation. So let's take a look at this guy's articulation. So first, for the shoulder, you can move this up. It does not go all the way up, but as you see also, the part of his chest does move to give you a little bit more articulation, but that's about as far as it can go up. So you can do that. You can do it 360, okay? Just like that. So you've got that at the bicep. This will spin 360 as well, okay? So you've got that there. For the elbow, you can take this and it will do a decent elbow bend, just like that. So really good for that there. Now there is no real movement at the forearms, unfortunately, and that has to do with this burst mode because a lot of these pieces come off. So that's what you've got there. For the wrist, this can move down and up. So that's where his wrist articulation is. Unfortunately, it doesn't move. It moves a little bit in and out, but not much, okay? So you don't have much there, but that's where your movement comes from. It comes from this part in here. All right, so that's what you got for the wrist. Now for the head part, the thing about this is this part right here. This part right here is very, very floppy because that comes apart for the full burst mode. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually gonna pull this out just so you can see a little bit better. Now what he can do, of course, he can go down, okay? He can go up, he can do the what, okay? He's got the chicken hawk there. So it does move in and out like that, okay? It can do 360. Just be careful with it, but it can move it this way. And then how neck part is, I can pull the head off here, and it just is that die cast piece there. So you can put this back on, and then that can also rest on there too. So that's what you've got for the head. Now for the chest part, you saw how that flexes up with the arms. So this can move out as well, just like this. So you do have some range of motion in here. A lot of this will come off for the full burst mode, but you do have that there. Now, unfortunately, due to this and the lighting gimmick, he doesn't have any side to side. At least I couldn't get it. If there is some, mine is super tight and I'm not going to risk breaking it, but you can move him. He does have up and down articulation. So you can move him in there, as a lot of his pieces will come off the more that you mess with him, okay? But that does move in and out. But unfortunately, he can't really look up all that high. That's really about it. And that's pretty much his normal stance, but he can go in that way. So he does have a decent ab crunch there. Unfortunately, I was not able to get him to do any side to side, and I think that's just due to the lighting gimmick that we'll take a look at later. So that's what you have for the midsection. He can't really, I mean, he can turn a little bit. Now, either mine's just super tight or it's not supposed to do that. So I'm not really gonna mess with it. He doesn't really have any like lower ab articulation as far as moving at 45 degrees like we've seen on a lot of other metal builds. I think that's just simply due to the full burst mode that he has. A lot of these pieces will come off, and so a lot of them are loose, and just due to the lighting gimmick for the chest area there. So unfortunately that limits his ab articulation and his chest articulation. Now for his hips, he really doesn't have any like front skirts or back skirts. They're very, very short. So as you can see, he's not really gonna be limited anywhere in the midsection or the hips area. So you do have that. This can move up and down the front skirt there. These can move to the sides clearly, okay? And then for the back skirt can come off. So you can take this, let me put that back in there like that. So that's what the back skirt will look like. You can flare that up, all right? Or you can just take it out altogether. So that's what you have for the back skirt. Now, can he do the splits? The answer is yes, he can. So he can do the splits quite well. Of course, he does want to tip over, okay? But yep, he can do the splits, and that's just due to the fact that he doesn't have that much of a front or a back skirt, and the side skirts are pretty good. So that's what you have for the waist section. Now for the legs, how high can he raise it? Let's raise this up. Now you will have to worry about the front skirt. This may want to pop off, and this piece here, that's for the full burst mode, that can come off. So if you put too much pressure, you can, but you can actually spin this to the side. And as you can see, that is really good there. I might say that's 120 degrees. Yeah, so maybe. And you could probably lift that higher if these pieces wouldn't come off. So that's really good. That might be the best that I've seen a leg raise in any of my metal builds. So that's really, really good. So you got that. Now for the knee is a little bit tricky here, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this, we're gonna bend this in, okay? Now, the thing about this, you can get added articulation. What it is this piece here. And this piece, you have to take it, and that piece will come out, okay, if you put too much pressure on there, because there is a little slit that this goes in right in here. So what I'm going to do, let me put this back in here real quick. And you want to move this down without it falling out, because mine likes to come out. So take that, and then you can push that down and now bend the knee, okay? And you see how that piece goes in there? All right, so he does have a little bit right in there. So that's actually that's really, really good. So you definitely want that like V shape. Now, due to this metal piece here, of course you could remove it if you wanted to, but you know, I don't really think that that's necessary. So you probably could get more articulation out of the knee, but considering that this armor piece is pretty thick. So that's what you have for the knee there. So we can take that, and then you can take that, push that back in, move that down, all right? And so that's what you have for the knee. Now for the ankle, since he has no ankle armor at all, and this is bare bones, this can go 90 degrees just like that. You may even be able to get a little bit higher. So that foot can go all the way like that. Same on the other side. And of course, all these pieces are coming off just due to the full burst mode. A lot of these armor pieces are gonna come off. So unfortunately, they do get loose when you start to mess with him. So let me put this back on. Okay, there we go, okay. So that's what you've got there. It can move all the way down, but unfortunately it doesn't move up all that much, okay? So you're not gonna really be able to get it moved up all that well, but you can move it down, and of course you saw the side to side. So that's really good for the armor. So that's what you've got there. So that's pretty much what he's got for articulation. Now we'll take a look at his lighting gimmick. Next, let's take a look at his lighting gimmick. Now, I have the GN shield off of him so we can see. So his lighting gimmick, pretty much you just pull this out, okay? And you will need a screwdriver if you want to replace these batteries. This the screwdriver is for here, and I think it takes LR41 batteries if I'm not mistaken. So you do have that there. So that's that's his light part, and then that just slides right in there. It does have to go in a certain way. This is the switch here, so that will light up, okay? And so you got that switch there, okay? So you wanna make sure that that switch goes up. So this will go into the grooves, and then you slide that in there, okay? And then what you'll do, let's turn it back around. Let's hit the switch here, okay? And boom, Now that lights up. Now, it does not light up the eyes or the head. Now, when I did the 00 Quanta full saber announcement, it did look like those were lit, but that could have just been the lighting of the photo that we saw. But for this one, you don't get any other lights other than that. So this one, if you wanted to do a lighting gimmick, because especially with all the GN parts on here, you could really do something as far as lighting is concerned, but that would limit its articulation, as you did see with the chest area. And if you look close enough, you can see the 00Q in there for the 00 Quanta. So that's what you have there, but it's mainly in the chest area, okay? Just like that. So that's what you have for his lighting effect. So for this mode, this is the Quantum Burst type regular. Now he did not do this in the movie. In the movie, he had all of his armor pieces off, but in the manual, it talks about this mode. And pretty much what this mode is that he is in all of his armor parts are in a semi-open state. So most of the shield bits and things are open. A lot of it is his chest piece here, especially around the knees, here and here, and then the calf and the shin part there with the feet. So what I've noticed about this mode in particular is the fact that a lot of these will want to come off, especially once you start trying to move them. A lot of them will just pull off. And I don't know if this mode is really worth having this mode. It's okay. I don't dislike it, but for me, unless you were gonna have all the GN parts here, all of these green parts light up, that would have made this, maybe put it over the top as far as maybe wanting to do this semi-quantum burst state. So, it does look okay. I don't really have a problem with it, but I would probably never have it in this state. Now, in order to do the actual quantum burst that we saw in the movie, the majority of his armor parts are going to come off. So what we'll do is we'll do that next. So there you have him, the 00 Quanta in its full burst mode. Now, this simulates the movie, and it has the GM bits around him. Now, with mine, I had one of them that broke, and actually I was surprised that I was able to find it, but let's see if I can get that to focus. With this one, just be careful when you're pulling those GN bits off of these, because when I tried to pull one off, I ended up stressing this little part. I ended up stressing this part right here, and so now it won't grab onto them. So, and I did that many years ago. So I'm actually surprised that I still have this. But yeah, so you definitely want to be cognizant of that. So that is why one of these GN bits is missing here. But ultimately, it still does have the lights there for the awaken mode or quantum burst mode. Now, this mode is interesting. It's kind of a skeleton. To be honest, it kind of reminds me of the Barbatos. I don't know why, So it seems like they kind of took the same skeletal structure that they had with the 00 Quanta or the 00 designs in general and added that to Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans. At least that's just my little tidbit. I don't have any proof of that, but that's what I think. Now, you know, it's an interesting design. It's not necessarily for me. I like my Gundams to have a lot of armor on them. So, you know, it's not for me, but it does look solid and it does replicate the movie very, very well. You know, so other than that, I think that it's really, really good. I would say be careful with these parts. These parts don't actually stick into the arms and legs very well. When I was pulling these the armor pieces off and putting those in there, a lot of times these would fall out. So you just want to be cognizant of that as well. So overall, it looks decent. Not my favorite, but you know, it does do what it did in the movie. So that's what I've got for this. So now we'll get into final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy. You know, it's been a long time since I've messed with the 00 Quanta. I would say I haven't taken this thing out of its box in at least 6 years. And even though it is one of my favorite suits, the fact that this one does not have the add-on set for the full saber is a really big problem for me. I really don't like that. Now, as far as the mobile suit itself with the metal build, the joints still hold up very, very well. The batteries were still good, even though they were 6 years old. So that's a good thing as well. I would say that the negative parts that I have for this is just that the armor pieces can be a little flimsy. Now, I do believe that that has to do with the full burst mode and the fact that all of its armor needs to come off. So I understand it, but I still don't like it. I think that it can be very, very flimsy that way. Also, the lighting, like the light for the chest is fine. I just think that maybe if we had been able to get it for the legs and the elbows and things of that nature, and maybe even the eyes and the head, this one I think would have done really, really well to have a really big lighting gimmick. I think that this one, because of all the green that's in it, I think that you could have really done something special with that. Now, back in 2016 or 2017 when this came out, they weren't really doing that yet. So, but I still think that that could have been really, really good to do. As far as its articulation and everything, I think that its articulation is solid, considering that it doesn't have really long front skirts or back skirts, and there is no ankle armor or anything like that. It doesn't really have any issues doing anything. So I do like that. Now, what I will say is the extra pieces that you get for like the GN bits and putting it on the little ring and all of that, that was kind of flimsy. The GN bits were just so heavy that even when you put them on those little joint ball things on there, it doesn't even want to hold its own weight. And I had to use a lot of sticky tack in order to even get it for kind of like the final thoughts montage and all that. So, you know, I had to use sticky tack for that. And also when you do the GN Buster rifle thing that this guy has, that one is very, very long and it's very, very heavy. And even with the extra added parts that it has, it still couldn't hold it. It still couldn't hold under its own weight. It was flopping around and all this stuff. I'm actually surprised I was able to get it in the pose that I wanted, because it took me a really, really long time to do it. So I think overall, I would say out of 10, I'm gonna give this guy an 8.4. I think that he's solid. There are a couple of things that it needs, but that's kind of just due to the time in which this thing came out. Now, I really don't like the fact that we have to buy another 00 Quanta full saber in order to get the full saber. The reason why I never had this one on display like all of my other metal builds is because I always felt that this one was incomplete. Even though it looks great as is with the 00 Quanta, I really do like the GN Sword 4, and I just do like the full saber. I think it just looks more complete to me. You know, so with that coming out now, for those who really like the full saber, there's really no need to get this one, just because of the fact that this one is old. Now, what I have noticed is on the secondhand market that it looks like a lot of the collectors who really wanted the full saber are starting to put it up for sale, since the full saber is going to be out in about 2 or 3 months. So, you know, depending on if you're someone who's like, well, do I get this one or get the full saber? I just say go ahead and get the full saber. Now, it may cost a little bit, especially to get it in the States. As of yet, we don't know if we're going to get it in the US as far as the P Bandai site. I'm saying probably not, but you know, there is still a chance. But even if you have to get it from Japan, and it's probably going to cost you over 300, 350, I imagine it's probably going to be roughly what it costs, especially now with all the price gouging and stuff over there. It may be a little bit difficult, but for me, I'm definitely going to get that. So yeah, 8.4 I think is a solid score. If you're willing to, if you don't need the full saber and you want to pick this guy up, I have seen him on the secondary market for about 200, a little bit less than 200. So depending on how bad you want this, it is available for those who would like to get it. So this was a watcher request. I do check the comments regularly, even on my old videos. I do get notifications anytime somebody comments on that stuff. So if there is a review that you'd like to see, whether it's Gundam or Brave or, you know, some other, you know, robot or something that you've heard that I have, or, you know, even if I don't have it, you know, and it's something that maybe I have on pre-order or something, I'll definitely put it into consideration as far as reviewing it. So that's what we've got. So thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.